Right, first podcast on the Back My Place channel. Will was being the guinea pig, which is very, very kind of him. So for those that are listening and not watching, we'll get Will to introduce himself a little bit. So over to Will.
So yeah, I'm Will Rewbottom. Probably know me from Cally Hill Farm YouTube channel. From Staffordshire, we produce hay and haylage for the equine world, and then I run the flock of sheep on the family farm.
It's a nice little overview. So give us a few details on the farm, sort of farm size. Do you want to go back through the history of the farm, like family farm generation?
Yeah. So, funnily enough, we've been farming for about 10 generations in Derbyshire / Staffordshire.
It's a long time.
Yeah, it is a fairly long time. So the farm at home, we have farmed since the 60s. So my granddad, dad, myself, my brother now, and it goes back more generations across Derbyshire. Used to be a dairy farm, but we sold all the cows when all the milk quotas and all that job happened in 1994. So I've never had livestock on the farm. Then from then my dad started off a feed business for the horse world, and then went into hay and haylage for the equine world. It's developed to what it is today. And then I started the sheep flock 10 years ago when I was at college.
Nice one. And so sort of farm size, I think you said to me yesterday, about 170 acres owned, is it? And then
Yeah.
the rest
So
rented?
170 acres we own, which is around the farm itself, all in like a ring fence pretty much.
Yeah.
And then we rent about 330 acres, up and down a few acres each year, depending on what it is, all grassland, within probably 7-8 miles max.
Oh, so it's a nice sort of contained area.
Yeah, not too
Not
far
going
away.
miles every
Yeah,
day.
we can't be carting little bales that far.
So that's the main bulk of the business, is the
Yeah.
hay and the haylage. And like you said, for the equine market, that can be a tricky market to manage, is it? Because it really fussy customers.
Yeah, definitely. The customer base, you've got to have the right product. You can't have something that's not quite there, especially when you're charging those prices. Our top end stuff will go to like race yards, show jumpers, and they'll use it as almost like a buffer feed and add other feeds to it. And then we're selling all the way down to 1 bale a person, so we'll go out delivering with the truck and trailer up to Arctic loads. We'll go down to like Newmarket and stuff like that, up to Newmarket.
Up to Newmarket.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing those sorts of customers, they're a bit cutthroat. So if one day they get a batch of stuff that they don't like, it's like, you're out. We'll find someone else.
You've got to keep it right. Like, the quality has to be there. As soon as you drop the quality, and our speciality is really the haylage.
Yeah.
Because not many, a few people try it, but we've kind of perfected it over 25 years, and that's our main thing. You've got to get it right. Even like down to farming methods with tramline grass that hardly anyone does. Well, unless you have GPS.
You treat it as an arable crop.
Yeah,
really, don't
it's
you?
like a wheat crop. That's how we treat our grass.
Yeah, that's interesting. I know some of my family that farm have sold hay, straw, and haylage to the equine market over the past few years, and they can be very fussy. They know what they want. That's what they want. They'll pay for it as long as it is what they want.
Exactly.
Oh, good. So you said about the sheep. You introduced the sheep on the farm yourself. That's sort of like your own thing you've kicked off.
Yeah. So went to college, went to Bishop Burton College in Yorkshire, and we never had livestock on the farm, but part of that course we got to do practicals with sheep, beef, dairy, pigs, and I quite picked up on sheep quite a lot and quite enjoyed working with them. Found the breeding and genetics quite interesting, and went off and bought 5 ewes of my own 10 years ago. No one actually knew. It was quite a funny story, so it was a bit... I just rocked up one day, or someone just rocked up with 5 ewes. No one knew about it, and I chucked them in the field behind the house, and everyone was like, "What's going on?"
Where did these come from?
Because it was so hard to get everyone on board with livestock because of how the farm was. It looks like a lot of work for not a lot back when it's a bit of a hobby. Had a chat with Dad and Granddad. They were like, "You take it serious as a business, or it's not really going to grow. It's going to stay at 20 sheep, or it's going to be proper business and it's there to make money." And we went down that route. Now we're 300 breeding ewes split into A flock and a B flock on performance basis, and that's where we're at today.
So talk us through that a bit, because that's something that, in my own experience, I'm not really an experienced sheep person, but we just have a flock of sheep. Work. There's no A flock, B flock. So talk us through A flock, B flock, and what you're looking for your A flock, and what decisions you make to take animals from an A flock to a B flock, and that sort of thing.
It's kind of like just being brutal with breeding. The A flock for me is the top animals. We do performance recording, weighing lambs monthly, and looking at the ewes under a performance basis. So how well they've milked, how well like at 8-week weights the ewes are doing. 8-week weights for lambs. See how the ewes perform with milk. If they rear twins, well, if they're singles, obviously you're not going to make the money back. It's just been really strict, and as well with like the pedigree things with all, I suppose, like Holstein cows, they've rated on charts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
With the clins, you've got like tick boxes. If they don't tick those boxes, they don't pass an inspection.
And there's no like, oh, that one's nearly. It is like
you're
in the A flock or you're the B flock.
Yeah, it's cutthroat. And I won't upgrade stuff from the B flock because it's there for a reason. The A flock are all pedigree clins, they're bred to a clin. The B flock get crossed for that reason, so I don't get tempted
to put them back in.
Yeah, that's it.
So I don't know if we mentioned or not, so it's all clin ewes?
Yeah.
So pedigree clin ewes, pedigree clin tuck on the A flock.
Yeah.
And what do you tuck the B flock with?
So the B flock we use an Aber Black, which is an Innovis breed. It's pretty much a Charolais Suffolk cross, which is stabilised, a bit like stabilised cattle.
Yeah, okay.
And then we've using a New Zealand Suffolk this year as a trial too. So they're what we use for B flock.
And then outside of the farm, so were you always going into farming? Was that your plan, or did you have like I don't know how it worked with you've obviously got a brother at home as well who's on the farm.
So no, I wasn't going to go into farming. When I was younger, I was really into it up until I was like probably 11, 12. Used to go on the tractor with Dad, used to get involved. Obviously, when you're that young, you can't drive the kit. Well, you can, but I didn't drive the kit. And we had no livestock really, so there was not a lot for me to do apart from sit there and watch. Lost a bit of interest. And at school, it wasn't the cool thing ground by us. We were a very town-orientated school. Kind of got involved more in sports side. At one point, I wanted to be a professional cricketer, and then thought I was quite good at maths, so I could be an accountant. Like that age, you don't know what you want to do.
No.
And fell back into the farm because when I was 15, 16, just started helping out with my dad. He's had bought some laying hens, not like big numbers, like probably like 300-400 max. Did them over the summer and got into it. They let me drive the loadle in the fields and stack bales and stuff like that. I just really enjoyed it and got back into it. And from then on, I went from applying to be an apprentice accountant. Over that summer, I applied to go to Bishop Burton College to do agriculture. And everyone at the farm was like, are you sure you want to do this? Because you look at me now, I'm mad keen on farming. But back then, it was the opposite. Like, you've only really got into this for 6 weeks. Are you sure you want to dive into it? And I was just like, threw 2 feet into it, the whole body into it, and just went off to college. And that was the best thing I did. Bishop Burton College, one experience going away to college, lived away, grew up a little bit, and learned it was a livestocky area, and that's how I happened to fall into the sheep.
So that was when you were like 16, leaving school then, was it?
So I did a year of A-levels. I went to college a year late, so 17. Yeah.
So it's interesting because I went from like I was mad keen to go to college. So at 16, I was like, I'm leaving school.
Yeah.
And I went, and it was the same situation. I was living away, and I hated it.
Yeah.
And I come back, so I did the opposite. I came back and did A-levels.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do. I thought that was my farming over, and it really knocked me back. But so that's interesting. So it's like 6 weeks of summer work.
This is what pretty much. Yeah, like finished school. It's probably a bit longer than 6 weeks because on your final year you finish early, don't you? But pretty much it wasn't long. It's just I guess you're doing it every day. You get in a routine. Just kind of got a passion for it.
That's decent. Yeah. So then alongside, if we move on from you've done your college, you went to Harper.
Yeah.
So that was an agriculture degree.
Yeah, I did ag with farm business management.
Yeah. So you've done all that, and then you don't go straight home, or you do go straight home after that, or you go out to work, or...
So, did a year placement at Harper at a big sheep farm, learnt a lot there. It was a great experience, but it wasn't the best experience because I had well, I may as well say I had problems with mental health and stuff while I was there. So I came home, and then, got a job in marketing because at the time, I'd only done half of my placement, and I needed to finish my placement. Also, I was kind of looking around for jobs in the middle of the year. There's not a lot going, and I found my own job. Funnily enough, they're based in Devon, Flame Marketing, and she took me on as a whim. I had no experience. It was agricultural marketing. Needed to do something, and really enjoyed it. And that's kind of what started the interest in all the social media and stuff.
So I guess you're allowed to talk about it. You still work a couple of days a week or 3 days a week. In marketing, social media.
Yeah, so I was at Flame Marketing a year and a half, and then I was a brand ambassador for all the YouTube and Instagram for Data Mars Livestock or Kiwi Kit. A lot of people have heard of, or Roxanne tags, and I was chatting to the sales rep or whatever you call them, and she said, "Oh, the guy that does our social media and stuff's leaving." Oh, girl, I can't remember what it was, and she said, "Something you might be quite good at." And I had a chat with the head of marketing, and it was the right time, right place.
Fell into it, It's weird how things happen like that.
Yeah, and they let me do it part time. Was a big thing because I was trying to grow the sheep flock at home at the same time, but I didn't want to put the pressure onto the family farm because there wasn't the money there to pay me a full-time wage. So I went off, did that, and then I've done more and more on the farm over the last 2-3 years whilst I've been in that job. So it's worked really well.
So if we go back to just quickly go back onto the sheep that started as a bit of a hobby.
Yeah.
I think from a few people I know that have sort of done that as a hobby thing, sheep are quite, I don't know if easy is the right word. You can grow your numbers.
They're
quickly.
Affordable, and if you're not strict, you can grow numbers really, really fast.
Yeah.
Well, you can if you're strict too. It's an affordable way to get into it. I'd always advise people. It's one thing I would say: buy quality over quantity with sheep.
Yeah. Because
you'll end up way better off down the line. If you spend an extra £20 a head, it could save you 5 years in genetic improvement. But they're affordable. You can buy ewe lambs, run them on at like £60-70 a head. For someone that's not got loads of capital, it's a good investment.
Good way to start. Yeah, and you don't need necessarily big sheds.
No.
Loads of land.
No, exactly. Yeah. You can do it literally from renting land, moving a lot. It is a lot of work.
Yeah, definitely. Like
you were saying about a friend of yours.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. But it's a good way to get into it if you've not got a lot of capital behind you.
Just establish a sort of footing in
the
industry.
That's it.
So is that something you think is going to grow more? You're at just under 300 now. You're going to keep growing, or are you sort of at a nice place where you can still work off the farm and you can do your stuff on the farm? Or
it's funny. I had discussions with my dad about the hay enterprise, and it's at a point now where it's big enough to sustain itself. But if the opportunities arise and more land comes up, possibly more poorer land, we could take it on with the sheep and make hay of it and stuff like that. So the option's there to keep growing. It's just I don't want to grow too big that it's too much work and the quality isn't there.
No,
that's the main thing. The importance is keeping those sheep fit and healthy and not overdoing it.
Yeah, not just doing it because you've got the ability, got the availability to do it.
That's it.
Grow too big too quick. We were speaking yesterday. Obviously, you're down here for a couple of days visiting us.
Yeah.
You've got work experience people that you take on. You said you take on quite a few at lambing time.
Yeah.
And you've also got normally one all the time as well, was it?
Yeah. So at the moment we got Sky. She's work experience girl, comes 2 days a week. I'm really into trying to get that next generation into farming because I see a lot of farms. I'm not. This is generalising. They're not the best at taking people on that aren't from the industry.
No.
They want people with experience, and I don't mind having someone and just giving them a go. That's the best way. Like giving someone an opportunity that wouldn't get an opportunity normally, and if it might go wrong, it might not work, but I've given it a go. And it's also I've signed up to the jobs in agriculture with Farmers Guardian.
Yeah.
being an ambassador to them. I'm quite passionate about the next generation getting into farming, because we just see the figures of like the average age of farmers. What, I don't know exactly, it's getting towards 70. We need that next generation coming for us. There won't be farmers.
Yeah, and also because that so much is changing as well with technology, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Even people that I'm quite a tech savvy bloke. Even I'm getting left behind sometimes with what some of the tech can do, and you think, well, the next generation, they're the really tech savvy ones. They take it all on. But it's it's important, like what you say, to take people on from not necessarily a farming background. We have farming in our family.
Yeah,
but it's 4 hours away. I'm not from a farm. So I was really fortunate that the guys that took me on when I was 16, 17 spent an awful lot of time and money and,
that's it,
trying to mould me, and it pays off, because you can end up in a really, really vital role of their business. If you take, I ended up being a herdsman, and I was responsible for, someone's 250 of someone's cows.
Yeah.
I didn't come from a farming background, but because of the way I was taught by that person, they can mould you nearly how you want them, especially if they're going to be in your business for a long time.
That's it.
So then that's really important, actually, what you're doing with Farmers Garden and work experience and people like that.
And also, sorry, just to add on to that, it's sometimes people that aren't in the industry see things differently, and they can pick things up that you would never see.
Yeah, definitely. It's like an outside set
of eyes, isn't it? Yeah.
No, definitely. So let's move on then to how people will best know you, probably from Cowley Hill Will.
Yeah.
As I like to tell everyone.
Yeah.
So YouTube. So when did you start?
YouTube started in COVID, so I think about 2.5 years ago now. Literally started off, as everyone does, watching Tom Pemberton.
Yeah, it's the catalyst for every
exactly.
YouTube channel.
Yeah. And thought, there's not really any sheep YouTubers out there. There was Sandy Brock in Canada, very different system, not very UK kind of system, really good channel. And then at the time I hadn't even heard of the sheep game, but obviously now a lot of people
heard of the sheep game. Yeah.
So, and I was like, there's a gap there. There's not anyone really doing sheep on YouTube, quite into the educational stuff. I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
And that's how it all started. The first video I was saying to you yesterday, I look back at it, it's just so cringy, but you just got to start.
You've got to start somewhere, haven't you?
Yeah, and from then it's grown just under 9,000 subscribers now, so nothing huge, but it's given me so many opportunities, like even meeting you today. If I didn't do that,
well, that's how we know each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Through YouTube. Yeah.
It's just crazy. It's same with Instagram. The amount of people and connections you make, and farming's one of those industries. It's more who you know, not what you know. Like, you can have a master's degree, but if you don't know anyone, what are you going to do with it?
Yeah, exactly. No, definitely. And had you made like a conscious decision to start YouTube, or was it like you say, you were watching Tom one day and you thought, well, there's a gap here. What have I got to lose?
So it took me. I thought about it for like a year, and I was like, I just need to do it. And one day, I think I've been paid from work, and I was like, well, I've got a bit of money spare. I'll buy a GoPro.
Yeah.
And then because I bought the GoPro, I put money into it, and it's a waste if you don't do it. I'm one of those people, I can't spend money if I'm going to waste it. So it's like, I've got to do it now. There's a catalyst there, and just growing it from there. I think the channel's very different. I've tried to do a bit more educational stuff, like we're going worming, this is why we're now. It's a bit more vloggy, like taking people around, like going to visit people like yourself and show people how other people farm and cool things in farming.
People get attached to, like, they want to know, don't they? They come and say it's like a Wednesday and your video comes out. Like, what's Will been up to this week? It's nice, isn't it? If people catch on and they think, what's Will been doing? Let's see what's...
And it just shows, like, when we were at Lama the other day, we met up, and the amount of people that come over to say hello, how are you doing? It's really cool to see that. I learned, like, I didn't know how this was done. I watched your videos. It's really helped me. I'm like it shows that you out there, even if one person it helps what you do, you've made a difference.
Yeah, I mean, you said you got 9,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
And you describe yourself as a small channel.
Yeah.
But if you picture 9,000 people in a room in front of you, it's a lot of people.
Yeah. It's mad. Like, someone told me, just think, like, if your entire high school watched your channel, there's probably like, I don't know, 2,000-3,000 people. Yeah. So times that by 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And you're like, so yeah, it's a lot of people.
No, and from like my own experience and what we've been saying to each other the past couple of days, it opens up loads of opportunities, isn't it? You got involved with some quite big companies with like Howden Rural. And,
yeah, definitely.
And being able to go and travel and do things like Come and See Us and go to Lama and
There's some of those companies are so supportive. Like Howden probably have very similar morals as myself. They're obviously in insurance, but they want to give back too. So they're with their Instagram, it's huge. They're trying to educate people and show people farming, and they want to support people doing that too. So it's like myself, Becca and Lizzie that do Boots and Heels. Who has Wallace, the Rural 2 podcast, and people like people that are giving back to the industry. They want to support. Sorry, I don't want to plug loads of different.
No, that's what I know. But that's really good of them to do that. Cause that is exactly what the industry needs to do.
Yeah, definitely.
One thing I haven't prepped you about talking about is, am I right in saying you were digital content, something in the Farmer's Guardian, you won an award, didn't you?
Oh, so
I can't remember the wording of it.
2 years ago? Well, 2021, I got the Silver Award for Digital Innovator of the Year.
That's the word.
At the British Farming Awards, which is mad because going back to Tom Pemberton again, I think a few years before that he won it. So it's like to be put even in the same category, and there's people like Zoe Colville, if you've heard of her, Chief Shepherdess, up against me. I'm like, man, this is weird. Like, I'm up against these people. I don't put myself in that category.
No.
Whereas you, like Soph, my other half, she says, you're like you've grown and you should be more confident and put yourself up there.
Yeah, even if you don't think you are. It's like going back to Lama, people come up to us and say hello, and you think, well, why are you saying hello to me?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm no different from X, Y, Z. But it's actually, you don't realise how big of a span of people your content goes out to.
It's mad. It's worldwide.
Yeah, no, it's mad. Let's go back to sheep a little bit.
Yeah.
I know it's something that all sheep farmers have problems with, and I've seen you've put some stuff recently on social media about it.
Yes.
Yeah. Dog worrying and dog attacks and that sort of stuff with sheep. It's just, what's interesting is you're new to your area with sheep, aren't you? You didn't have sheep on your farm before.
No.
How do you think that interaction with, because you've got a lot of footpaths as well?
Yeah.
How do you think that's gone down with footpathers and dogs that perhaps have walked those footpaths for a long time, never seen any livestock, and all of a sudden now there's sheep?
It's weird because on the farm at home, obviously no livestock, and some of the land we've rented has had sheep before, and it's very regionalised. I don't want to put anyone down, I'm not going to say any place, but we find in certain areas we have a lot more problems than other areas that are probably a bit more rural.
Yeah.
People have been brought up in a rural background, even though they haven't seen sheep on our farm, they've seen it on another farm, a bit more respectful. But we've had, I was saying to you, I said 8 sheep worrying incidents in the last 12 months. And before COVID, I never had one. So we think the catalyst is all these people probably buying dogs
during COVID.
Yeah, and they're just probably not educated and haven't walked the land before. It's really frustrating because you go down the field and they don't think they're doing any harm with a dog running around the sheep.
No.
And some of them do get very upset and other people just don't give a toss.
Yeah.
And it's those people, it's not right. People apologise and realise they've done wrong. Sometimes you give them a chance, please don't do it again.
Yeah.
It's those ones that come up to them and think they have the right to do anything.
Yeah.
And I'm quite a calm person, but sometimes I can lose my head. It's just the disrespect people have sometimes. Surely you can see that your dog's doing harm. They're just chasing them, they're playing. I'm like, yeah, but
they're heavily pregnant or something.
Yeah, if they're heavily pregnant, even stressing, any animal that gets stressed can kill it.
Yeah.
So it's why we try and educate people. We put signs up. I put it on the videos in the local Facebook groups. I put these dog worry incidents. I show all the pictures, if they've been bitten or killed sheep. I put them on because those gruesome pictures are what someone's done.
And that makes people think probably.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No,
I'm quite passionate about it, but we've had such a problem with it the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Compared to before. And I think fines should be bigger, or there should be more on the spot fines or something just as a deterrent, because we've took someone to court before and nothing came of it. It's so easy for them like you've got to have serious amount of proof.
Yeah.
That it's that dog. Like you've got to take all the samples from the animal, the saliva samples and stuff like that. It's just such a long-winded effort from ourselves. Costs a lot of money, time for something that we might not even win in a court case, and all you're going to get is the money back.
Yeah.
And that won't replace the genetics for me and those sheep.
No, exactly. Yeah, that's the
and I
real killer, isn't it? Yeah.
Care about the sheep. It's not just the money.
No.
It's the harm. I had one. It had its face ripped open. We found it. It obviously, I checked him the day before. It obviously happened not long after that. We'd gone all grim and manky, and the person I rang up to say the problem. It's those people that can let their dogs get off the lead, rip an animal shreds and leave them. They shouldn't be a dog owner. If they can treat an animal like that, I worry how they treat their dogs.
Yeah. No, it's
a bit of a rant.
It's fine, you can rant. We're lucky that we're like down here there are footpaths everywhere, like there are on your farm, but where I work specifically, there aren't. So we don't see it at all. But I know, I've got a cousin that's got sheep that has problems. I know that you obviously put them on social media, you have problems. Going back to Cammy on the sheep game, he's really good. I don't know how I would react in this situation, but like he's come across instances as they're happening, and he pulls his GoPro out or he pulls his phone out and he starts filming. I'd be like, that would be the last thing I'd be thinking of doing.
He's so good at keeping calm. Obviously, he was a police officer before, so obviously he's got a bit of training behind it. He knows how to speak to people.
Yeah.
But for me, it's if you say the wrong thing and it's on camera, like you can't threaten them in any way because then obviously it can go back to bite you on the arse.
Yeah.
It's got to be reacting to the situation in a way which is democratic, and it's one of those. It's so hard to do, and he's really good at it. Like,
I expect in the moment you just feel with rage.
You
just want to tear into it.
That's the problem.
Can't,
and some people, like I said before, depends how they react to you is how you react as well.
Yeah, definitely. Going on a completely different tangent. If you're happy not to talk about this, it's fine. But your other half, Soph.
Yeah.
She from a farming background?
So, Soph, no, she's from Derby. She's lived...
What does that mean?
Oh, yeah, you don't know.
She's from Derby.
I say Derby's obviously a town, a city, whatever. She lived probably on the outskirts in a ruralish area.
Yeah.
She grew up with horses, equine girl, not at all from a farming background. First time I took her in the lambing shed, she said, I'm never sticking my hand in one of them. And then 3 years later, she's lambing the sheep, and she's got her own flock of pedigree borderlesses, which is really nice to see, like, for her to grow and see someone come from non-farming and wasn't that keen on it, and then she's come into it and accepted it, and it's just amazing, like, and now she's actually invested in farming herself.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
We're sort of the opposite. So Abby, my other half, is farmer's daughter.
Yeah.
Always been around farming. And I'm farming mad, but not directly from a farming background.
Yeah.
So we're the opposite. So anything I do within farming is really easy because Abby's like, let's do that. Like with our own cattle now, she's like, let's do that. And I just wonder with that dynamic of you spending like, because you're tied, aren't you, to the farm?
Yeah.
I know you come away to see us for a couple of days. You can't just drop everything instantly and go away.
No, you've got to plan it. I've left Sky feeding sheep and doing all the horrible jobs, but But
that's really good that Soph is into it. It feels weird talking about Soph because I've not actually met Soph ever, but I see her on Instagram and whatever. But it's nice for you that she's into it nearly as much. So
definitely.
You don't feel like it's I got to do that because Soph doesn't like sheep, or I got to do whatever.
Yeah, she's amazing, really. Like, if I'm weighing lambs in either hand, and she's an accountant, she might finish work at, say, 4, and it's summer and I'm weighing lambs at 6:30 night. She'll come and give me a hand, and she knows what she's doing now. Like, I could pretty much, if I wanted to, wouldn't make her. I could leave her to go and weigh lambs on her own.
Yeah.
Or she can dose sheep. And she wants to learn too for her own sheep.
Mm-hmm.
So she's got the interest there. She's quite handy too because the accountant does payroll, so she now does the farm payroll. Oh. So it all works well.
She's a keeper.
Yeah, definitely.
So where do you see not just where do you see your farm business? Majority of that is hay and haylage.
Yeah.
Is that something that it's not necessarily easily grown because the ground's got to be right and it's got to be, it's a very specific business. Do you see your farm as a whole growing? Like if you could take on more land that perhaps you can graze sheep on and
Yeah.
free up a bit more ground for making haylage and
Yeah.
hay on. Have you got a market to expand in hay and haylage?
Yeah, we're growing year on year, especially the haylage side. Like, we've got more going, like I said to you, to Newmarket. We've had stuff go east, north, south, every direction on lorry loads. It's becoming more and more. But with that, we use specific Italian ryegrass lays. So for that, if we're going to grow grass for haylage, it needs to be a land that we can take on a bit more. It could be a short-term 5-year rent.
Yeah, you need a degree of certainty
Yeah,
to
we've
invest in that.
And we've got to be able to plough it up, reseed it.
Yeah.
Which we have some people work really well with, but it's got to be a really good relationship to be able to do that, because you don't want it pulled under you after 2 years.
No.
And you've invested in all that.
Yeah.
Whereas with grazing land, it's much more easier to take on probably poorer land.
Yeah.
So I see it expanding, but it depends on what land comes up, which way it goes.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And what about for Will and Soph? You guys are getting married
Yeah,
soon?
really cool. Yeah, so we're getting married at the end of June, and then we'll be.
Who knows?
Who knows?
We'll just be married.
Yeah.
I remember we got married last year, and we got married on the Saturday, and on the Sunday we were at home. Like, well, that's it. We're married.
Yeah, it's weird. We said that, like, literally, we're getting married on the Friday, and then on the Saturday we're like, so what are we going to do? It's like, oh, we're just all going to meet and have breakfast.
I better correct myself, actually. We got married on a Friday.
Yeah.
Abby won't be happy if she hears that. I said we got married on a Saturday. Yeah, no, you get married on a Friday, you have your breakfast your Saturday morning with all your friends and family.
Yeah.
Saturday afternoon you're at home.
Exactly, it's like, well,
now
yeah,
what?
we're married now.
Better go check sheep.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's an exciting time for you both, definitely. I'm guessing there's some nice holidays planned as well. And
Hopefully, I'm not promising anything in case you can't follow it, but we're hoping to do something in a year's time. As everyone knows, it's extortionate to pay for a wedding, so we're probably going to go on a smaller holiday after the wedding, and next year hopefully do something a bit more expansive. Yeah,
definitely. Is there anything you want to discuss as well? I'd put the floor open to you. We've sort of covered YouTube, dog worrying, sheep, your work, your farm.
I'm guessing, I don't want to act like a host here, but is this going to be the first one you put out?
This is the first podcast.
So you may as well. It was really cool for me yesterday to go and see back my place, the cattle.
Yeah.
But it's like, to see someone that's done it themselves. You've obviously got the cattle on board. Like I was saying about of new people into agriculture, it's really cool. And what's that like for you? Like, does it feel like you've got somewhere? Is it a start of a new beginning, or is it?
Yeah, definitely. Oh, it's weird. It's something that it's always been in the back of my mind. I'd like to do something of my own.
Yeah.
I get quite nervous around, which is weird in farming. I get quite nervous around finances. I don't ever want to do something unless I know I've got the backing behind it without wanting to borrow money up front to do it. So and that's where I would just discuss this in a minute. That's where YouTube's been really, really good.
Yeah.
All the stuff that we've done with it, the cattle, and you take on the cattle. So we've taken on the cattle now. We're not going to see any money back from those until a minimum of 12 months.
Yeah.
So you've got 12 months of feeding, bedding, vaccinations, vet calls, whatever. So that's a huge step for us to do. And to be able to do it is mental. And we can only do it because of how well our social media's grown and the money that we've managed to earn.
Opportunities have come. Exactly.
And we were discussing yesterday, an opportunity comes up that you can't turn down is never at the right time.
No.
I've been in a situation before where me and Abby were really close to taking on. We've got 9 cattle now. We were going to take on over 100.
Yeah.
And go into it big time. And and the chance, it was no one's fault that was involved. The chance disappeared due to external factors. And after that, I was like, it's just not going to happen. And you get to like 20, I'm 30 this year. You get to 28, 29, 30, and you think, perhaps it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
I'll be an employee forever. It was just fine. I love my job, but to have that opportunity to start something, however small it is. It's incredible.
And the hardest thing with anything like YouTube or business is that starting.
Yeah.
We were saying about it to you yesterday. It's like that first step's the hardest step, because once you've done it, you're in it.
Yeah, that's it. I'm really lucky as well. I mean, people might have seen it on the channel already, but we've sort of gone into it with a bit of a joint venture with Phil and his wife Liz.
Yeah.
Which isn't an opportunity that will be available for just anyone. If we had to rent a building, get some machinery, find a stack of forage, find a load of straw to start, we'd never be able to afford to do it.
No.
So it goes back to who you know.
Yeah, definitely. It's all, everything links in farming.
Yeah. So, no, we're really fortunate, but it's not through lack of hard work. You know what I mean? Yeah. But no. So that's obviously helped you as well, grow doing your YouTube stuff, earning like. It's not really ever talked about on my channel much, but I earn a bit of money through some sponsorships. I know you earn a bit of money through some sponsorships. That it's almost like a bonus, isn't it? Like
exactly.
And it's like there's no. I don't know how you do it differently. We don't draw any of our YouTube money personally. It all goes back into what we want to do farming wise. Like you're very much the same. It's just such a help, isn't it? From YouTube ad revenue, sponsorship money, you don't have to be reliant on your employment to because you've still got a mortgage, you've still got bills, you've still got everything else. It almost frees you up a bit to have a go at it.
And everyone says to me it's like a diversification. It is like
it is,
It for me, it's like a third job, and it's got to a point where it almost earns as much as those other two jobs. And like I say, it's in the bank, but there's that little bit of money there. So if something dramatic was to happen, those people that support me all that time, I'd be very thankful because it could save my bacon down the line.
Yeah, definitely.
Or if I want to invest it, like I spoke to you yesterday about possibly buying some store lands, there's the option there.
Yeah. It's that little like safety ledge nearly.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if YouTube was to turn off its channel tomorrow, there's no more YouTube tomorrow, you're not completely reliant on the money at the same time as well. So your sheep now are at a point where they can nearly sustain themselves.
Yeah.
No, it's good. I know not everyone's a fan of social media.
Yeah.
But it can do really good things if it's handled in the right way. And
yeah, definitely. If you do it in the right way and you're happy with how you portray yourself on social media and you show the real you, there's nothing you can really lose out about it. It's those fake people which are just showing happy stuff all the time, which you're like, it's one of them, I guess.
Yeah, show the good, the bad and the ugly.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, there we are. I think we've covered most things. I'm sure there's some stuff we've missed, but there's always an opportunity in the future to get back together and do another one. So thank you very much to Will for coming down and visiting us the last couple of days and doing the first podcast. If people want to find you, Cowley Hill Farm or Cowley Hill, Cowley Hill Farm.
Cowley Hill Farm.
Cowley Hill Farm on Instagram and YouTube. We'll put some links wherever we can. I don't know where this is going out there because this is the first one, but we'll link you up and make sure people can find you. So thank you for coming and hope you've enjoyed your stay in Devon.
No, it's been amazing. Thank you for having me, and hopefully next time I can beat you at darts.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.